Sometimes, when we have a particular idea in mind about how we want to approach something, and it does not go as planned, it can put us in a negative mindset and potentially lead us to becoming less effective employees. Unfortunately, I found myself in that situation. In the spring of 1993, I was at a crossroads. I was trying to determine whether I wanted to pursue graduate school and my future career path. Despite applying to various graduate programs in cellular and molecular biology, I faced rejection at every turn. One day, while discussing my predicament with my supervisor, he questioned why I was pursuing a degree that would confine me to a laboratory all day. This perspective had not crossed my mind. Initially, I believed that I should follow the logical path set by my degree since I was not going to be a doctor. However, my supervisor introduced me to a master's in public health and industrial hygiene, which allowed me the opportunity to apply my science background while working in the field. I was thrilled, especially because I was in Tallahassee, which has a lot of great universities. There was, however, a catch. The catch was that the only college offering this program was at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Now, initially, the idea excited me because it meant returning to my college town, baby. However, I had already settled into Tallahassee, and I did not want to leave a job that I enjoyed. So I decided to research educational opportunities within my job, which was working for the state of Florida. Luckily, the state would cover graduate courses if they were related to my job. Since my job was a safety and health specialist, and this graduate program related to that, this seemed ideal. But then there was another program that caught my interest, the Educational Leave Program. This program would pay my salary and my benefits and allow me to be a full-time student with the caveat of owing the state of Florida a year of employment for each year they sponsored my education. I approached the Assistant Director of Human Resources to inquire about the Educational Leave Program, only to be informed that it was no longer available. I was confused and frustrated by this sudden change. I had no desire to work at a field office, which means going to Tampa would have meant I would have had to work in a field office. I was content working at the headquarters office in Tallahassee. So as such, I was faced with a dilemma: transfer to a field office in Tampa to pursue my master's degree, or seek alternative options in Tallahassee, Florida. Rather than seeking further clarifications or exploring other avenues, I chose to transfer out of the headquarters office and go to a field office in Tampa, Florida. So in April of 1993, after just over a year in Tallahassee, I found myself back in Tampa. After enrolling in graduate school in May of 1993, I had the opportunity to attend our agency's annual conference. There, I encountered the agency director, whom I had interacted with regularly during my previous headquarters position. He inquired about my progress in graduate school, and I explained that I had started and was enthusiastic about the program. To my surprise, the agency director asked why I had not pursued educational leave and tried to obtain my degree while remaining in the headquarters office, as he valued my contributions there. I shared that I had been informed by someone in the office that the program was no longer available. The agency director contradicted this, stating that the program was indeed available. Now, here's where things got a little complicated. The Human Resources Department head, along with her assistant, were both present at this conversation. And that assistant was the same assistant who initially told me that the educational leave was not an option. I had to decide whether to reveal that she had given me incorrect information, potentially jeopardizing her job, or just remaining silent. Given my already transferred status, I chose not to disclose her involvement. I simply mentioned that I had spoken to an employee about it, but ultimately accepted my situation in Tampa. The woman's relief was evident, but I could not help feeling frustrated. I had been denied an opportunity I did not deserve to miss. This revelation weighed heavily on me, fueling anger and a sense of betrayal. Instead of embracing the challenge and focusing on my graduate degree, I developed a negative attitude that would influence my decisions during my 2 years in Tampa for graduate school. After making the transfer from the Tallahassee office to the Tampa, Florida office, I quickly discovered that I could have stayed in Tallahassee for a year, worked in Tampa, and returned. Knowing that this option had existed but was no longer available put me in a negative mindset. I realized that no one had wronged me. I had failed to do my due diligence while in Tallahassee. So here I was in Tampa, attending the graduate school I wanted, but harboring resentment towards the circumstances that brought me there. I can honestly admit that I had a poor attitude during this period. I wasn't mean or unpleasant to anyone, but I lacked the enthusiasm for my job. Here I am, 23 years old, and I'm lacking a strong sense of responsibility. As a result, I pushed boundaries. I took as much leave as I could, sometimes arriving at work a little later than I should have. Given that most of my work had no strict deadlines, I did not always work as efficiently as I should have. I became the embodiment of going along to get along. And I acknowledge that I did nothing to deserve any form of assistance. Most importantly, I didn't care. Thankfully, my negative attitude did not hinder my performance in graduate school. I took advantage of every opportunity available, even taking a semester off from work to attend school full time. Being back in Tampa, my college environment, I relived my college days with house parties and road trips and getting into my fair share of trouble, both on campus and in my apartment. I can honestly say I was living my best collegiate life and enjoying my youth to the fullest. However, I was not conducting myself professionally in my career. Sadly, I had to learn a valuable lesson about the consequences of unprofessional behavior when seeking opportunities that may not have always presented themselves. This experience taught me the importance of taking responsibility for my decisions and actions, as well as the need to maintain professionalism in both personal and professional pursuits. Upon graduating in 1995 with my master's degree, my job presented an enticing opportunity. They were seeking someone with a master's degree in public health with a specialization in industrial hygiene. Precisely my qualifications. Excited, I applied, only to discover that a colleague with less experience was chosen over me. I was baffled since I had been with the agency for 3 years, whereas the chosen candidate had only been with the agency for 1. I approached the supervisor responsible for the selection process, seeking an explanation. His initial response caught me off guard. He claimed that they were looking for someone with at least a year of experience within the agency. I pointed out that the selected candidate had only been there for a year, while I had been there 3 years. He then mentioned that they were specifically seeking someone with a master's degree in public health and industrial hygiene. To his surprise, I revealed that I had just completed my master's in public health with an industrial hygiene specialization. It seemed that he had been unaware of my educational pursuits and had assumed I had no intention of staying with the agency, thinking I was pursuing an unrelated degree to leave. Unfortunately, no one had asked me about my intentions. What made matters worse was that I had submitted the application detailing my qualifications, but it seemed to have been overlooked or disregarded. Looking back, I wondered if my prior negative attitude had influenced their decision. The second blow came when a coworker who had previously worked in the private sector secured a job and had the opportunity to bring someone with him. I had worked alongside him for a longer duration than another colleague, so I naturally assumed it would be me. Surprisingly, it was not. He chose the other colleague. When I asked him why, he explained that despite our good rapport, my attitude had raised concerns about my ability to collaborate with others effectively. This was another hard lesson on how my attitude had repercussions even with someone I had held in high regard. Lastly, Despite applying for various jobs, thinking that my master's degree would just open up all these doors, I faced numerous rejections. The harsh reality was that having the degree did not guarantee success. So shortly after earning my master's degree in April 1995, within 2 months, I found myself without internal job opportunities, passed over by my mentor due to my attitude, and facing rejection in my job search. It felt eerily similar to my post-undergraduate uncertainty in 1991. I had assumed I had it all figured out, but I had overlooked external factors that could impact my path to success. To be clear, during my time in Tampa, I had maintained a negative attitude. I wasn't rude, I wasn't disrespectful, but I wasn't an ideal employee. It took time for me to understand the importance of building relationships and how others can influence your path based on their interactions with you. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of In the Know. I am your host, Tony Reeves, and as always, stay sharp, stay focused, and stay involved.